And good morning, everyone. Good morning. Let's see, presenters, can somebody mic up? Can we hear me okay? Is my mic hot? Camera's working?
Gotcha.
We can hear you.
Good.
All right. All right. Well, everyone, welcome to today's PC technology webinar. We want to thank you for taking time to join us. We've got a lot of information to get through today, and we're going to be running through it fairly quickly. We'll be doing our best to keep you engaged, keep you informed. Working with PC fleets is not the easiest job. Refreshing, again, not simple, but we do have tools and services available to our Dell customers to help lighten that lift, right? To ease the burden and help you do more with less time, right? Which is basically what we're all working with. So, why don't we go ahead, Austin, and advance the slide? Right. Really quickly, we're going to run through the agenda. I'll be introducing the team. We'll talk about Windows 11. We will talk about next generation hardware and software. We'll talk about Pro Support Plus. We'll talk about Support Assist. We'll talk about Lifecycle Hub and managed services. We'll flip back to AI, but not just AI, but the technology underpinning it that helps people that aren't using AI, because look, not everybody is developing AI at the desktop. And, the big question out there is, hey, well, how does this hardware help me? And we intend to answer some of that for you, right? Q&A. What we'll do is we will handle Q&A through chat. And we'll be working as a team. I'm your host, Dennis Peak. We'll be working in conjunction with my co-host, Austin Satterfield. Austin, you want to wave hello to the crowd? There we go. And we'll be collecting all of your questions, and we will get them funneled to the right people. If we can't answer them on the spot, again, we'll get the right answer, get it back to you. All right, so with that, let's go ahead and advance to the next slide. All right, so I've introduced myself. My name is Dennis Peak. Let's go ahead and, again, next slide. Windows 11 will be helmed by Callie Brooks. Joe's Rysdike and Jamie and Jackson are from our client team. Let's go ahead and slide to the next slide there. And they'll be handling the new hardware and new software, right? This is a lot of what we've come here for. I mean, obviously, the tools and then the AI and the NPU, that technology will also be dipping into, but the big column there, the client team will be presenting. We've got Louis Stice talking about Pro Support Plus. We'll be talking about Support Assist from Matt Turner, right? Next slide, please. Rakan Smati will talk about our Lifecycle Hub managed services. Saba Prasala will handle the AI and NPU. And of course, I've mentioned my co-host, Austin Satterfield, right? Let's go to the next slide, please. And then there's coffee. Yes, coffee. Right? This is not a commercial for coffee, but it may as well be. Anybody that's been to any of these events that we've done in the past knows how I feel about coffee, knows I like to share it out there. What we'll be doing throughout this presentation is we'll be giving away coffee. Boom, right? I want to make sure the camera can get nice and close on that. Everybody can see clearly what's going on here. What we're going to have is a number of images. Anybody that can correctly identify, or I might as well say it, the dog, right, in the image. You don't need the dog's name. You just need the dog's breed. Try to keep this simple. It's early. I haven't had much coffee yet, right? If you can identify the breed of dog and pop that into the chat, right? So obviously mics are muted, but you pop the dog's breed into the chat. The first one there gets coffee, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and move to the next slide, Austin. Right, Here's an example game slide, an example. Now, there won't be a prize for this slide, right? We're just giving you an idea of what it is that you're looking at. So Alston, go ahead and hit it. Bang. So right there, you've got something. If somebody, there we go, comes back, says, hey, I've got this breed of dog, whatever, boom, right? So the first one in the slot gets the coffee, right? Okay, so with that, Alston, go ahead and take us to our next slide, please, right? Let's go ahead and get started. As we mentioned, we've got a bit to get through, and we want to be respectful of your time, so we're going to get through it quickly, but there will be some details. You may want to take notes. You may have questions to give to us later. Let's go ahead and spin up Callie. Callie, I see we've got your camera hot. I will go ahead and turn this over to you.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Dennis. Welcome again, everyone. I'm going to be talking a little bit today about Windows 11 mostly, but we're also going to touch on the impact on outdated PCs, really what the true benefit for refreshing to Windows 11 is, and then how Dell can help you get to those desired solutions. So next slide, Austin. Perfect. So I kind of took my own thunder away, team. But this is basically a date that I'm sure everyone on this call is super familiar with, right? Windows 10 does go into support on October 14th of 2025. So without further ado, let's jump into the meat and potatoes of the presentation. So Austin, next slide. All right, Austin, and then if you'll just bring in some of the information on the rest of the slide there, that'd be perfect. But let's talk a little bit about what's the impact of actually staying on Windows 10. So let's start with security, which I'm sure is top of mind for just about everyone on this call, right? Right now, Windows 10 does get regular updates, and it does help fix vulnerabilities, and it protects against new threats across the board. So really net is if you stick on Windows 10, just know that you are going to miss out on those crucial updates that's going to leave your system at risk. Now, cyber attackers across the board are using advanced tactics, right? They're using advanced technology to truly target that unpatched software. So their attacks are more precise, and heck, they're stealthier than ever, right? So we just want to ensure that modern PCs, right, when we talk AI PCs, when we talk Copilot Plus PCs, those are our modern PCs that do come with AI-enabled security features, and it's going to truly help you counter those emerging threats because they're always going to get smarter. Now, moving on to malware and viruses. Without the support, like we've discussed prior, the risk does go up. Now, our malicious actors, right, they can exploit those known vulnerabilities to infect your system. So as soon as we figure out, what they're doing, that's going to shift, right? So it's an ever-evolving kind of conversation and threat that's out there. Now, let's talk about performance. Older PCs, they can be slow, right? Which is going to affect overall productivity, efficiency, and it's going to lack the AI processors that are modern PCs, right? Those advanced AI processors are going to enhance productivity, they're going to improve overall workflow, and they're going to take those repetitive tasks and actually automate that across the board. I don't know about you, but I absolutely love the fact that my PC can, in fact, automate some of those tasks. Helps me move that much faster. I think Dennis alluded to that earlier in one of his comments, right? Our book of kind of to-dos is getting larger, not smaller. So older PCs, they may work, right? And they may work well, but with new security, new applications, and devices, it's truly hard to integrate new technologies that are really going to continue to be effective for your business and for your end users. So staying on Windows 10 could put your business at risk. And for those industries that do have non-compliance regulations like HIPAA, GDPR, new modern devices are insanely crucial. Furthermore, if you decide to stay on Windows 10, just know that the cost it's high, right? So all Windows 10 devices are technically eligible for extended security updates through Microsoft. But keep in mind that this 3-year subscription does cost $427 per device. So when we're talking about ROI, when we're talking about PC refresh, let's always consider that additional cost, and let's consider the risk for not transitioning to Windows 11 with those modern PCs. So Allison, next slide. Now, I talked about getting into the meat and potatoes, right? This is truly where kind of the meat and potatoes lie. So Austin, the first one is security. The second one, we're looking at manageability. The third is cost, which we touched on briefly. The fourth is productivity and AI, which I know is kind of top of mind for everyone these days. And then Dell services offerings. So let's go ahead and dive right in. So we're going to start with security, right? Our Dell commercial PCs come with features like BIOS verification, indicators of attack. The reason this is crucial is because it helps detect those threats early, right? We talked about the threats. We talked about malware. We talked about viruses. Well, these features truly help us detect those issues sooner than later. So these detections are really made visible through Dell-only device telemetry. That's insanely important because Dell brings those additional features to ensure that your environment is super secure. Now, when a Dell commercial PC comes with Intel vPro, it does detect those potential threats early. Now, this is quickly communicated to the OS for faster and more effective resolution, right? Now, of course, moving to the OS, which is my favorite piece. So moving into the OS, Windows 11 Pro, it's secure by default, right? There's multiple layers of hardware-backed protection to safeguard that sensitive business information that we all have, that we're all trying to ensure is protected, especially with these evolving threats. Now, I've got a little survey result here for you. So according to Tech Isle survey, there was a 62% reduction in overall security incidents, right? And there was a 3-fold decrease in firmware attacks with just a Win 11 PC. And of course, that's compared to a Win 10 device. So ultimately, by choosing a Dell Windows Pro PC, your users and that data are truly going to be protected. All right, Austin, next slide, which is more on security. So one of the standout benefits is the significant reduction in identity theft, which I'm sure at least a handful of customers on this call have dealt with that before. So just know that Dell Win 11 PCs can cut that identity theft down by nearly 3 times. Another key feature is the just-in-time administrator, say that 10 times fast, privileges offered by Windows 11. Why this is important is because it does boost security while still allowing necessary functions, right? So again, that's just another layer of security baked into that. Now, let's move on to app security. So Windows 11 ensures that all verified applications can run on your device. We will talk a little bit more about this in the upcoming slides, but keep in mind that this helps keep those malicious attachments and malware at bay. So additionally, Windows Hello, which I know I use every single day, and I think all of my colleagues on this call could probably agree with that as well, but Windows Hello does provide built-in multi-factor authentication with the support of passkeys, making your secure sign-in a whole heck of a lot easier while also protecting user data. So it was a total game changer for me. Finally, Dell, our partner at Intel, and CrowdStrike have teamed up, right, to provide top-notch threat detection and response. Now, this collaboration combines Dell Secure PCs, Intel Silicon capabilities, and of course, CrowdStrike's endpoint security. So net from these two security lights, the most important thing to remember is that our Dell modern PCs can enhance your long-time cyber resilience. So with AI at the forefront and with security top of mind, that is absolutely critical. All right, Austin, next slide for me. All right, we're going to get into bullet point number 2, which is manageability. So let's start the transition process, right? Moving to Windows 11 is smooth. And the reason why, and I'm sure a lot of you know this, but it's built on the same platform as Windows 10. Now, if you've been in the technology industry for a while, that necessarily wasn't the case when we had the Win 7 to Win 10 transition, right? That was, for lack of better words, tough for a lot of customers. That has kind of been nixed, and our transition is a whole heck of a lot smoother. So next, let's talk about app compatibility. So Dell is a Microsoft Fast Track partner. Now, why this is important is because it offers AppAssure to resolve any app compatibility issues on Win 11 devices at zero charge to you and your employees. So Windows 11 also supports a broad spectrum of ecosystems, right? Apps, peripherals, devices. We'll touch a little bit more on that here in a moment as well. But when it comes to overall deployment, Windows 11 Pro, it does enable a reported 25% faster deployment, which really helps you and your team members work seamlessly through that existing technology, right? Now, finally, the Dell Management Portal for Microsoft Intune. I love this because it simplifies device management. It offers enterprise application access and publication capabilities. So all of these things that are built around management are truly in place to help you kind of navigate the complexities and the effort of your overburdened IT teams. All right, Austin, next one, we're going to be touching on overall costs. So let's talk about the cost associated with outdated PCs. And when we say outdated PCs, right, we are talking about Win 10 devices. So with outdated PCs comes the first, right, which is frequent repairs. The second, which is help desk tickets. So over time, those things can truly add up, and it's going to impact those PCs with slower performance, which is going to impact overall productivity for you and your teams. So I've got another stat for you here. According to a Forrester study, Win 11 PCs do deliver, are you ready for this? 250% ROI through reduced help tickets, right? Improved productivity and easier deployment, which is what we just talked about on the other slide. So net is if you stick with Windows 10, extended security updates, or also known as ESU, will cost, like we said before, $427 per PC over 3 years. Now, it's important also to note that if you do that, these PCs will not have any new features or any AI benefits. So if you think of it like this, you're not really future-proofing yourself with extended security updates for Windows 10 devices, okay? Moving on to cost savings. I'm sure your ears are going to perk up here. So Dell Apex PC as a service, if you have not heard about this yet, it can unlock capital for modernization and transition to Windows 11 on our new Dell AI PCs. Now, employees can get the latest tech in hand, right? And it's going to help improve overall operational efficiencies across the entire team. And of course, you as an organization will spend less upfront compared to outright purchases, which you've done in the past. Finally, Dell's asset recovery. It allows you to securely retire old assets. So you don't have to figure out where in the heck to send those to. Dell can handle that for you. And it adds a seamless transition for new tech, right? It's actually getting the new technology in hand for your team members. Austin, next slide. Okay. Now the exciting bit, so productivity and AI. So let's talk about the benefits of AI, right? Refreshing those PCs with new Dell AI models can significantly boost productivity and obviously collaboration across the board. It's achievable through our 111 Pro PCs, but more importantly, or more specifically, I should say, our Dell AI PCs and our new Dell Copilot Plus PCs, which are available across Intel, Qualcomm, and AMD. Now, a new study from Principal Technologies found that users were 50% faster on Windows 11 devices versus Win 10 devices. So that means faster workflows, faster productivity, and again, overall collaboration. Now, let's talk about delaying a PC refresh, right? We've kind of alluded to that fact up until this point, but delaying that PC refresh really means that your workforce is missing out on innovation, right? Because they have old PCs in hand. So embracing those new AI PCs really empowers your teams to accomplish more and heck, to just move faster, right? So those AI-powered solutions enhance productivity. Of course, they streamline workflows, they improve video conferencing, right? And they integrate those advanced AI features that are baked in to Windows 11 Pro. So really, what I want you to take away is to equip your team with the latest Dell PC is critical. And Dell PC accessories and monitors also help maximize overall AI productivity. They all play in the same pool, right? So Dell's range of accessories include AI-driven noise-canceling headsets, which I'm on, iComfort certified displays, and of course, I'm sure you all are familiar with this, the Copilot key on the keyboard, which does auto-prompt that Copilot functionality. So I myself love that key, and I'm surprised I haven't worn it out, to be honest with you, on my keyboard. But Dell does offer an effective solution for running common AI workloads on Dell devices, right? And how we do that is through our open source AI reference guides. Now, these have been rigorously tested and validated by our engineers. So think simplified IT application development using NPU technology. So NPUs are part of those Win 11 Pro AI PCs we've talked about, and those Copilot Plus PCs as well, okay? So some additional benefits that we can talk about as well is improved privacy and security, and that's gonna help just keep that sensitive data on the device and keep it secure. Now, let's talk about specialized hardware for AI, right? It's gonna help parallel computing, and it's truly going to help minimize power consumption, right? So any AI PCs are going to have longer battery life and just be able to handle those AI workloads that much more effectively. Now, lastly, and I think this is really important, it can also help save on operational costs by handling, again, those AI tasks locally, which I just mentioned. It's going to reduce the reliance on costly cloud services, okay? Austin, next slide for me. Now, last but not least is our Dell services. So how can Dell services truly support you in your transition to Windows 11? So I think the first piece is really starting with the range of services we offer, right? So Dell provides comprehensive assistance through 5 things total: consulting, deployment, support, management, and education. Now, I'm sure some of you are wondering, well, Can SMBs access these services? Can enterprise companies access these services? The good news is companies of any size at any transition stage can utilize these Dell services. And we are a leader in OS transitions. Therefore, we want to be able to leverage our extensive experience, our amazingly broad portfolio, and of course, these services solutions we're talking about. So with more Microsoft competencies than any other partner, right, we utilize our global end-to-end supply chain, which truly makes us stand out amongst the rest. Now, it's going to help us increase efficiencies. It's going to help reduce costs, timely delivery, reduce risk, and of course, enhance sustainability, which is one of Dell's main priorities. So from planning to migration to application assistance, think M365, think Microsoft Entra ID, think AI configurations, Dell services truly ensures that you and your company feel supported throughout the entire process, not just a sliver, which I think is huge, right? All right, Austin, I think I'm ready now for the next slide. It's my next and last one, actually. All right, so in summary, what the heck have we been talking about, right? Well, let's dive back into kind of the 3 pillars, and then I've got an analogy for you as well that'll help kind of bring all of this home. So let's start with what's happening, right? Staying on Windows 10, which we've talked about after October 2025, which is our end of support, really exposes our systems to security risks and, of course, performance issues, right? So Microsoft will charge for that ESU update, extended security updates for our old Windows 10 devices. However, it is costly, and you're not going to have those new feature AI capabilities, which we're all kind of working to that future-proof state, and it is AI. That is what's on the forefront. So let's now, of course, talk about refreshing those PCs, right? So upgrading to Win 11 Pro or Dell AI PCs, or heck, even Dell Copilot Plus PCs, right, are going to help you with productivity, with performance, with collaboration issues or concerns. And then, of course, you're going to get the new advanced AI features. And I'm sure we've got some ITDMs on this call as well. You all will face fewer support issues and security incidents. I got excited there and I almost jumped ahead of myself. But I think that's critical, and I'm sure that's made your ears perk up a tad. So finally, why refresh, right? Why do we want to go to Windows 11? Well, planning for a Win 11 PC refresh, it's going to help ensure that you've got the most secure devices that are truly going to have the best performance and capabilities out there. And I'm not going to touch necessarily on costs again because we have reviewed ESU. It is an option, but really what I want to leave you with is it's all about PC refresh. It's all about Windows 11 and transitioning to the latest and greatest Microsoft OS. So lastly, and the thing I want to leave you with is the analogy, right? So think of it like running a marathon, right? In flip-flops, okay? Possible, but pretty uncomfortable and slow, right? So new running shoes improve your experience and your overall outcome, right? Similarly, upgrading to Windows 11 does the same thing, right? It's going to enhance business operations. So ditch those flip-flops, get a new pair of running shoes, and you're off to the races, right? Ditch the Win 10 PC, move on to Win 11, and you are set up for overall business success with Dell's advanced solutions. So Austin, Dennis, that's all I've got. And I think the next up is Joe.
Thank you, Kelly. Good morning.
All right. So thank you, Callie. I got to be honest, running a marathon in flip-flops, I am shamelessly stealing that. Yes, you will hear it either with customers or internally. You're going to hear that again. That's coming back.
I love it. I love it.
All right. So it looks like we've got the first game slide up. Let's go ahead and get everybody ready. And Austin, if you could bang, hit it. I don't know. This one might be tough. A little hard to.
All right, we have a winner. We have a winner. So everyone can stop. Hold on 1 second here. Yeah, Shannon Cox was the first one to go ahead and log in. So Shannon, we got you. So
Thanks.
Bulldog, that is correct. Thank you
Here we
very
go.
much.
Zoop. All right. One down. All right. So next up, we have a client team. So we've got Joe Reisdyke, Jamie and Jackson. They're going to be talking to you about the next generation compute, docks, device and fleet management tools. There's a lot here, and I need to get out of their way. Joe, welcome. Jamie, welcome.
Thank you.
I'll step aside. Hey, guys. Have at it.
All right. Thank you. Austin, first slide, please. So we're going to talk a bit about innovation, brainification, and then docking, of course. So some really great things coming. So we're excited about them. We've shared with a lot of customers already face to face, and we're really hearing outstanding feedback. So really the new Dell portfolio brings fresh, clean, timeless looking systems that are business professional. The smallest, lightest in our class. They're made of durable, reliable materials built for the workday. Alongside the beautiful designs, these really redefine professional grade. But to put it simply, we completely redesigned this portfolio for both notebooks and for the desktops. So let's jump in. So the all new chassis designs, you're really going to see 3 materials on the notebooks. You're going to see the magnesium alloy, and that's very aesthetically pleasing, lightweight and durable. You're going to find that you're going to hear that in our premium class is where you're going to find that thinnest, lightest, maybe for your C-suite, your outside sales team. Those kind of people are the ones that are going to really benefit from that one. But in our main device, our mainstream device, it's going to be made out of a platinum colored aluminum chassis. Really looks outstanding, super durable, and a great price point. And that's going to be in our plus space. And I'll dive into that a little bit later. And then finally, we'll have more of a budget conscious there for pricing, very versatile, and that'll be a polymer based chassis. So that's what you're going to get from those chassis designs. You're also going to get 16:10 aspect ratios across the portfolios. So we're moving in that direction off the 16:9 to 16:10. There's going to be better productivity from it. There's going to be less scrolling up and down the screen, more vertical space on your screen, and more efficient use of the overall experience. Display options. We've heard your voice when we're out on site with customers or doing virtual sessions. We really want to hear our customers' opinions, and we use those. So OLED's been an ask. We've got a new tandem OLED screen. Tandem OLED is very power efficient, has superior brightness, reduces your eye strain, and has enhanced durability. Going back to that user interface, the user feedback. So modular Type-C and I/O boards. So enable to move from the barrel connector to the Type-C connector. The industry as a whole is really seeing that connector is a little more fragile on the motherboard than what the barrel connector was. We're doing a lot more with it. It's not just power anymore. You know, all your data, audio network, all goes through that connector. So today, if a Type-C port breaks, then it's a matter of moving forward with, hey, we've got to replace the motherboard. So to replace the motherboard, you've got to unscrew the chassis, pull the motherboard out, disconnect the Wi-Fi, remove the RAM, move the hard drive. And then that's just the physical piece of it. Then we have to talk about what's TPM looking at, what's encryption doing, what's BitLocker doing. And then we have to re-image and move the user data. So because of this, you'll now be able to open the chassis, lift up the motherboard, and install a modular USB-C port. Customers have absolutely loved this news. My engineer here, Jamie, and I were in a presentation, and we actually got a standing ovation when we presented this portion of it. So that is, once again, your feedback. Please continue providing feedback on these things. We'd love to hear more of how we can continue to improve. You'll see that on IO boards, just so we can continue to get better in that space. Looking at RAM and memory. So Dell, about 3 years ago, created CAM memory, and it was really created to address the shortcomings of the SODIMM form factor. It's really reached a threshold of how fast it can go. So with this new technology, the CAM memory, which we took to, along with our partners that were interested in the same technology, we took to the JEDEC board. JEDEC certifies specifications, and it was certified. But it was Dell IP, and we're like, how do we get this to scale? And able to get it to scale, we'll need to open this up. So we opened up the IP. We have our competitions using CAM as well. I think our official name now is CAM2. We've been asked to rebrand it as CAM2, but it brings higher bus speeds. You've seen some of our systems up to 7,500 mega transfers, just smoking fast. Improved signal integrity. So if you think about, it's a tighter product. Doesn't have so much wire to traverse. It reduces the latency. It's a smaller form factor, which means it allows us to shrink our devices and continue to get thinner and lighter. And it reduces thermal issues. Matter of fact, using CAM memory, we can now get 256 gig of RAM on a mobile device. That's incredible. You can think about 64 was really the cap. We stretched out to 128 with SODIMM, but now we can hit 256. So we're really thrilled about that. Adaptive thermals and acoustics. We have an entire team of just thermal engineers, acoustic engineers. Their job is to take those CPUs that our partners work so hard on to keep cool and keep them running quickly and performing well. And how do we put these in our systems and keep them that way? Well, we're using things like changing the fan blade material, changing the number of fan blades, changing the thickness of the fan blades, changing the ingress and egress of the air, intelligent thermal management through the system, letting AI take care of that, optimizing cooling and noise levels through that. And then now you'll see dual fan technologies that we've had in some of our really high-end systems are moving down into the mainstream systems as well. So you're going to see some of those great things. Finally, docking solutions. We've got an entirely new docking solution. We had, if you recall, the C, D, and E port replicators, kind of where you would push your system down and it would mount into the dock. That was greater than 10 years. I think close to 20 years is that family. About 7 years ago, we moved to the WD, the wired docking solution. And that's been 7 or 8 years now. So that was our commitment, was to make it last 5 to 7 years. But now with the evolution of Thunderbolt 5, we've really had the ability to respin our docks. And I'll give you just a couple highlights of things we're going to do. Remote management that is without a physical system connected to the dock. And I'll talk more about that here in a moment. That's really innovation story about our chassis. The next thing, next slide, please. So you're going to see expanded CPU offerings. You heard Callie say Intel, AMD, and Qualcomm. Yes, we offer all those in our client systems this year. It really allows us to have better competition across the board. Intel will have their Ultra Series 2, their V Series, their U Series, their HX. AMD will have Ryzen. We have Threadripper already, and then Qualcomm has their Snapdragon in place. We'll go beyond the CPU and GPU. All of the new systems in 2025 will have the neural processing unit, so that NPU. I know Sabu is going to talk about the NPU here in a little bit, but really think about it as a three-legged stool. Traditional architecture is really about CPU and GPU. The NPU allows offloading at a very low power cost, so it saves your battery. So you can see here CPU, NPU, and GPU work together for increased battery life, and it's very significant increased battery life. We'll offer really 3 flavors of NPU: AI PC, Copilot Plus PC, and AI Workstation with a discrete graphics card. Next slide, please. One more. let's talk about our brand here. So our goal is always to be innovating, improving, and simplifying our solutions. We listen. Evidence of that is that Type-C connector, that modular Type-C connector that's going to really make your IT teams much more efficient. It'll remove the delay of ordering a motherboard and waiting on it. It'll make it easier for your teams to actually replace that instead of ordering a technician if needed. Through that same user feedback loop, we surveyed, interviewed about 13,000 customers and partners and said, we want to make this easier. What are you seeing? The complexity was around our model numbers. How do we make that simpler? And that's our goal. Next slide, please. So we've really taken 8 well-known products. You'll see 7 here. Alienware is the 8th. Alienware will continue to maintain its own brand. But if you take the Inspiron XPS, G, Vostro, that's really good consumer line. Your commercial enterprise suite that most of you guys on this call are using, Latitude, Optiplex, and Precision, will merge into their own brand as well. Next slide, please. So I mentioned Dell. That's where you've got your Inspiron XPS, G series, the Vostros. The Dell Pro, that's your commercial enterprise productivity office suite user. So there's really 3 flavors within that, and we'll go into that in a minute. And then there's the Dell Pro Max. That's your commercial enterprise maximum performance multitasking system. So if you're looking at, like I said, office suite, productivity, AI on the edge, Dell Pro's got a solution. If you're looking for multitaskers doing a lot of Teams, a lot of Excel, a lot of, think about it, even Adobe, AutoCAD, something where you have to add an application, it's really going to fit in that maximum performance. We've really drawn a line of delineation here. Before, you could buy a Latitude or an Optiplex and max it out. You could put a GPU in it. You could put a higher wattage CPU in it. That won't be the option any longer. If you want a higher wattage CPU or a graphics card, discrete graphics card, it's going to be in the Dell Pro Max line. So if you think about, we've really defined that, and that's where we're going with it. Within those bands, you see Dell Pro Premium, Dell Pro Plus, and Dell Pro. So the Dell Pro Premium, I mentioned it earlier, magnesium alloy chassis, thinnest, lightest, most premium, most aesthetically pleasing, not the most powerful, but it's going to be like our innovation incubator. So if you think about the zero lattice keyboard or the collaboration touchpad, those are kind of things that are outstanding features we've rolled into our top of the line premium. And as customers, buy them, they love them, they adopt them, we'll roll them into the other systems. For instance, the Plus. The Plus is our mainstream system. It's the most scalable. It's going to have options for 10 key. It's going to have options for 2-in-1. It's going to have replaceable RAM if you want to go that route. It'll also have Ethernet port. So this is kind of a collaboration between our former Latitude 7000 with that aluminum alloy chassis and the 5000 series Latitude. So we're bringing those two together to give you a lot more scalability and a lot more flexibility. And then finally, on the Dell Pro side, that's the essential performance and productivity. That's going to be your polymer chassis. And that's really kind of an integration of the Latitude 3000 and 5000. We've taken the best features of both, put them together. That's how the portfolio itself lines out. Next slide, please. So let's take a look at what does this new model numbers look like. So I'm going to challenge each of you to simply look at this, look at the 14 and tell me what size screen do you think this might be. Super easy. Obviously, it's a 14-inch system. If you're familiar with the displays model and how the product model number lays out, this is very similar to that. So if you're using a 24-inch display, it's going to have a 24 there. Formerly, we would only have a 4 here. Think about the Latitude 5450. The second digit was a screen size of 14 inches. Now we're calling it out 14 inches. The next pair of numbers is the generational launch year. So that's what the year we launched this system, 2025. Formerly, this was a random number. It was different with Latitude. It was different with Precision. It was different with Optiplex. They were all unique. The challenge came in, for instance, when you wanted to go to Windows, from Windows 10 to Windows 11, you had to have TPM 2.0 to get there, right? So if I were to challenge you and say, tell me which latitude, tell me which precision, tell me which optiplex have TPM 2.0 and are eligible to move on to Windows 11. Nobody knows that. There's a table to look it up. It's a math problem to solve. We don't want that for our customers. We said at the beginning, this is about simplicity, about removing complexity, and that's what we're doing. So in the future, when Windows comes out with Copilot plus PC 13, whatever they're going to call Windows in the future, we can say, hey, what were the system requirements required for that? Okay, and what year were those available? They were available in 2025. Guess what? We specifically called out 2025 in our model number. That makes it easy for you to move on to the next iteration. And that's our goal, make it easy for you. The last digit tells you who's a CPU vendor. Is it Intel, is it AMD, or is it Qualcomm? Now, most of our customers say 14250, love it, easy. It transcends across all of the platforms, very easy. Let's look at these letters. So I'm going to try to make this easy for you. Let's not worry about we're going to go all the way to the left. Don't worry about Dell, C, D, and E. That's consumer. We're going to focus on enterprise and commercial systems. So if you look at Dell Pro, you see it's highlighted. Dell Pro laptop is the letter P. So P fits up in the product line category. Now let's go to the next bracket, tier, the configuration. A Dell Pro Premium, thinnest, lightest, most mobile, most aesthetically pleasing system is an A, it's a premium. But I know a lot of our customers buy the Latitude 5000 today. That one really seamlessly transitions into the PB 14250. So what's the B? B is the plus. Plus means it has capability of Ethernet port, capability of upgradable RAM, capability of a 10 key, capability of 2-in-1. So that's your most flexible, scalable, the most sold system we've had in the past. PB 14250. I hope that has a little bit of clarity around it. Let's take a look at the desktops. Next slide, please. Usually the question that we get at this point is, what's it look like in my management tools and what's it look like on the sticker? So on the back of the system, you'll see the sticker here at the top. It says Dell Pro Max Tower 2, T2. So we can find all that out by looking at the table below, and this table is available online. I'll drop it in to the chat after I'm done speaking, but you can also click on the barcode with your phone, and it'll bring you to the system. So great tools to have. On the back of the systems, they're going to say just simply Pro and Pro Max in big letters, but you'll look at this service tag sticker, and this will give the information. Here's the actual name. Here's the actual model number. Here's the year it was built. Here's the service tag, and here's the express service code. Those are all available to you on the back of the system now. What's it look like in my Intune and my SCCM and my case? What's it look like in my management tools? You're going to see the same thing. You're going to see the model number. So if we walk through, instead of the screen size, because this is a desktop, there's no screen size, you see T2 here. So you can see that's a Tower 2, still calendar year 25. It's an Intel proc. Now, if we go back all the way to the left, you're going to see Dell Pro Max desktop. So that's a Dell Pro Max. That means it's got the capabilities for upgradable RAM. It's probably got a higher wattage CPU, maybe an i9 even, and a graphics card. So that's where you get that. And then the tier is the A, B, and C. And you're really not going to find a lot of premiums and pluses in the desktops. All right, next slide, please. I mentioned earlier, if you're familiar with the displays and monitors, model numbers, really very similar. CPC P for professional is what you guys know it as today, but it's moving to the Dell Pro Plus. You see it's still a P. 24, that's the screen size. The year it was launched was 24. So this is a little bit different for displays. They're changing it to match the systems. Today, the displays, or formerly in 24, the displays use the fiscal year, not the calendar year. So they'll be changing the calendar year. And then the HE at the end, that really identifies what's the resolution and are there any special features out here. Now, we've got some new special features with some of our monitors, and I wanted to call some of those out. We're looking at Thunderbolt 4, 140-watt capabilities of power delivery on some of our new ones. IPS black, which is a deeper, richer colors. Hardware blue light filtering so that it takes the strain out of your eyes, so that at the end of the day you don't have a headache from squinting at your screen or from the light, the blue light coming through. RJ45 will move to 2.5 gig on some of the systems. 120 gigahertz refresh rate gives you better motion clarity and enhances your productivity, reduces your eye strain. Built-in cameras, built-in mics, built-in Ethernet hubs, built-in speakers. All those things are available in our monitors today. It's really a full solution. And I'd like to call your attention to a new 14-inch display we recently released. We had one about 2 years ago. We refreshed it. The new one, it's still less than £1. It's an accompanying 14-inch. So you really stick it next to your notebook, plug it in via Type-C. It does power pass-through, but less than £1. FHD plus now, 16:10 plus now. It goes into either landscape or portrait mode. So formerly, you just had it like this. Now, if you want to set it up and code on it, or you want to have your Teams or Zoom on it, it's available for that. It's got a VESA mount on the rear. Just all around great solution. All the customers we've shown that have loved it, and it's been very successful. Next slide, please. So docking. Docking is in the same boat, same model numbers. So this is, you're used to seeing a WD. There's still a WD dock, but 3 of the 4 docks have moved to SDs. SD is a smart dock, and we'll go into smart docking here in just a moment. But still at the calendar year of release. And then what are the underlying connectivity and technologies? This is a Thunderbolt 4. We also have a Thunderbolt 5 dock that'll launch in July. And I'll talk more about that in a moment. Next slide, please. All right, so to bring this brand unification message together with not just the systems I talked about, not just the displays and not just the docks, the peripherals are all part of this as well. So we're moving the brand as a whole to the brand unified, same model number styles. So you'll see it in headsets, keyboard, mice, backpacks. We talked about docks. You'll see it in, so that peripherals are covered, and now services as well. So the full solution will use the same brand unification message. And once again, it's there to simplify things, simplify and reduce complexity. Okay, next slide, please. One more. All right, so docking. Connectivity is the first thing everybody sees on this slide. You can see on the upper right-hand side, the cable comes out of the middle now. So formerly, the cable came out of the side and had the modular port that went on there. This new docking, the cable comes out of the middle, and it allows you to set your desk up any way you want. Like right now, I'm using a Thunderbolt dock, and it's here, and I've got to have my system appropriately stationed. But with this new style coming out of the middle, you can put it anywhere. And the corners of the docks have cable management on it. So you can lay it in the little tray and hook it in the corner, just like you see on the photo there, and that makes it much simpler. So ambidextrous cable is one thing. It moves up to Thunderbolt 5. With Thunderbolt 5 comes a lot of upgrades. Previously, if you had a higher end precision, you had to have a dual connector dock, 2 cables. So you ate up 2 Thunderbolt ports. We're now able to push 300 watts across one single cable with Thunderbolt 5. So that reduces the number of docks in our portfolio as well. Manageability, I talked about remote management earlier, or I talked about remote management without a connected device. We've done some wonderful things there. It's got a wireless module in it, and I won't steal Jamien's thunder. I'll just touch on it, but it's got a wireless module in there that connects wirelessly, and the wireless is only for management. This is not a wireless access point for your end users to connect, but it uses WPA3 security, 192-bit security. We'll talk more about that and the tools that manage it here in a moment. But upgrade from a gig to 2.5 gig. Of course, all the Dell security features are used to, and sustainability. Next slide, please. What are these bringing? So the top are the new docks. The bottom is the previous gen docks, and you can see how they align. So starting on the left, you can still go do a wired dock. With that wired dock, you're going to get an upgrade from 90 watts to 100 watts because our systems are continuing to grow in their wattage needs. but you're going to get more ports. You're going to get more video ports as well. So there's 4 video ports on here. A lot of people are like, hey, I can only connect 3. That's been a normal thing. And that's because there's 2 display ports, 1 HDMI and 1 display port, and over Type-C. And that Type-C and that HDMI are married or muxed. So you can only use one of the 2. It was there for flexibility so the customers could do however they want. But we really found user feedback was we need more ports. So we've unmuxed those. You now have 2 display ports, an HDMI, and a display port over Type-C to use. Those are all available to you. You can find that across the board. Power goes up as you go across. You can see the smart dock with 130 watts. And like I said, management without a system connected to the dock. You can connect to the dock wirelessly or via Ethernet and manage that dock. As we scale up, more resolution support, greater monitor support, going, for instance, from FHD all the way up to 8K support. Next slide, please. Here's kind of a little bit of information regarding the displays and supportability of displays. You can see a lot of display capabilities now. One more, please. All right. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to my systems engineer, Jamie Jackson. He's going to dig into a little bit on how do we manage these docks, what are the tools, and what other things do we get out of this? So thank you. Appreciate your time today.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. So first of all, Joe, can you hear me?
Gotcha.
Got it. Thank you. So Joe already talked about the docks. And again, I saw a couple of hand claps, thumbs up. Sounds like we've done a pretty good job from a hardware standpoint. So one of the customer feedbacks that we actually received as well is, hey, you guys have great docks. The challenge that we're running into is firmware updates. Today, the firmware update process is you go to our site, you download the executable, and then you run it, and you do that on an individual basis. So what the team went back to the lab and came up with was this management console. So the management console is called Dell Device Management Console. It was actually released two weeks ago when our new docks were released. This is a managed console that gives you the ability to push that firmware now. So you can create policy that you can define the firmware that you want to use and spread that across your entire enterprise or organization, or in the case of the management console, group. And so now when you bring in new docks, they all are at the same firmware version. So, again, you buy a new one out of the box, plug it in, get it connected. And the first thing it does is reads that policy updates to the firmware that you've approved. Now, you can define the firmware, but you can also allow it to go out and update to the latest firmware version. So there's flexibility there. So again, we focused on that docking and making sure that with our new smart docks, we have a way for you to, number one, manage it, number two, push that firmware to it so it gets the proper code to work the way you need it to. Now, while the team was in the lab, they said, you know what? While we're here, why don't we do something crazy? So next slide. So that craziness is, hey, if we can do this with docks, why can't we do this with other peripherals? So I'll just tell you again, letting you see behind the curtain from a Dell standpoint, we've looked at this tool as a great way to manage all of our peripherals. So today, the plan or the focus is on our docking, our smart docking solution. But you'll see throughout the year, we're going to be making some advancements in this tool, which give you the same capability for your standard docks, your displays, your mouse keyboard, your headset, your webcams, all of those peripheral devices that today you still have to maintain firmware, you still have to update drivers, but now we're going to give you a mechanism that allows you to do that remotely. Now, again, I threw a little curveball in there, and I don't know if anybody heard me, but believe it or not, You can do more than just update the firmware. You'll also be able to do configurations. So think about, from a monitor standpoint, being able to define the resolution that you want to use across a monitor group or organization. For you guys in healthcare, some of your applications require you to have a certain resolution set for a certain device because of the software compliance. And so you can do this across the board using this management console. Now, the great part about all of this is we've looked at this from a way of deployment. And so the easiest way to do that we could see is, for those who've already made that investment in Microsoft Intune, you can use your Intra ID to log into this site. Basically, the first thing you're going to do is authorize your tenant access through third-party applications. Once that tenant is authorized directly using your Intra ID, you'll be able to access this portal. Now, for those of you who don't have Intra or Intune, you can still use your Dell Digital Locker login to access this site. So there is a method that you can use or get access to this, whether you're in Intune or whether you're not in Intune. Now, this is what we're doing for our docking station and some of our peripherals, but I want to walk quickly through what we're doing today with all of our other endpoints. So next slide, and we'll jump through this fairly quickly because a lot of you have seen this before. So we still have our command suite, which includes Dell Command Update, which updates the software. Software is in firmware, drivers, BIOS of your different systems. Next slide. So we've also introduced Dell Trusted Device. This is a tool that sits local on a machine and really scans the BIOS for any vulnerabilities, any intrusions, and gives you recommendations on how to improve the overall security of that device. As you see on the screen, it scores that device based off of what is needed versus what has already been done. Next slide. Old faithful, Dell Command Configure. If you need to configure or make any BIOS configuration changes, this is a tool that still gives you that ability to create an executable or create a CCTK or an INI file that gives you the ability to make those configurations, whether you're deploying it out to your entire fleet or dropping it on a thumb drive and going around to individual machines, making that change easily. Next slide. Command Monitor, great tool that gives you insight to what is configured on your system from an OEM level. So being able to understand what thermal management settings have been set in the BIOS, that information can be reported into SCCM or MECM. Also, it can be exported to a CSV file that you can then manage and review. Next slide. Okay, Dell Optimizer. So still a tool that is very helpful in helping you with the overall performance of your system, giving you power options to set, giving you application optimizations that you can set. The sleeper in this, I'll say, is presence detection. If you have a IMSA camera from Dell, whether your laptop has it or whether you have a standalone, it gives you the ability to do, hey, you just walked away, put my system to sleep. Oh, you're coming back. Wake my system up. Great features built into that tool. Next slide. So, and go ahead and go to the next slide. So I wanted to talk about these two together because we just merged these two tools. So Dell Display Manager and Dell Peripheral Manager are now Dell Display and Peripheral Manager. Basically, a great tool that gives you the ability to set monitor settings, push firmware for your monitor or displays, and then from a peripheral standpoint, giving you the ability to set all of those configurations, whether you have a collaboration keyboard, which is what we see on the screen now, or if you have a headset. All of these tools are really good at helping you manage the overall experience of your devices. Next slide. Now, those are the tools that we have existing. Two more tools I want to walk through very quickly. Dell Management Portal. This is the tool that we released last year for all. And again, I'm going to step back to all of you who've already made that investment in Microsoft Intune. This is a platform that gives you the ability, once you authorize your tenant, it will then immediately show you all of your Dell devices that have been registered within that tenant. So from this portal, and you can go to the next slide, Austin. From this portal, you'll have the ability to see all of your Dell devices that are registered, as well as the Dell applications that you have the ability to push or publish to your devices directly from Intune. So again, this is a tool that once you authorize your tenant, you then have the ability to push applications directly from Intune. And oh, by the way, not just push, also configure, because now those configurations that you set on the device level, you'll be able to do that directly from Intune and apply it to the group or device or users associated with that tenant. Okay, next slide. And so now the last one that I want to mention is the fact that we now have an integration of a couple of tools. So Dell Client Device Manager is an integration of Dell Command Update and Dell Trusted Device. What this does is it gives you the ability to do what you've been doing with Dell Command Update, but now you can do it directly from Intune. So you import your ADML file, and from there you can start setting your policy and configuration and deploy that across your fleet, making it extremely easy to get all of your devices updated, and then making sure that they all have the same configuration. Like I said, these are Intune or Intra ID associated tools. So like I mentioned before, Dell Command Update, Dell Trusted Device, these are now integrated through Dell Client Manager. Okay, that's it for me. I'm going to leave you guys with a link, which is dell.com/command. It has basically everything I just talked about. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jamie. Appreciate that. All right, let's go ahead and roll to the next slide, please. One more game slide. All the coffee drinkers, pay attention.
Everyone ready? Here we go.
Now, this one could be hard. This one might throw a few people.
All right, I think we have a winner. Let me just make sure. So Carla is at Pekar. Carla Pekar. So I think that we'll go ahead and make sure that you get your coffee.
All right. Let's go ahead and throw to Mr. Stice. Mr. Stice, camera is hot.
All right. Can you hear me okay? All right. Hello, my name is Louis Stice, Technical Customer Success Manager, and we're going to be talking about the Pro Support Plus. Next slide, please. When you get your... Is that the first one? We have a different order here than I was here. So this is fun. So we're going to start off talking about just hit it hot. The biggest thing I talk about the Pro Support Plus suite, one of the big things that we have is talking about the modernization and AI integration. We talked about the NPU offloading things, and one of those aspects is for AI for us is being able to give you the tools and abilities to manage your fleet remotely. Now, I'm going to hit the high level here. We're not going to get into a whole lot of detail, just a taste of it, and that will be covered a bit more later by Matt. With the support assist. But the cool thing about this is you have your systems out there in the field. You'd like to be able to manage them, and we have a solution that allows you to have self-healing automation with the Pro Support Plus suite. Depending upon your support level is going to determine what you're going to be able to do with that. With this aspect of it, we actually have a whole bunch of scripts available. Some of them will allow you to heal from a blue screen. Other things will check out your system's ability to be upgradable to Windows 11 if you're looking at existing systems and seeing if they're capable of being upgraded, and a whole lot more. About every couple weeks, there are new AI-generated type scripts that you can use and leverage via our Tech Direct and Support Assist portals to help make your life a lot easier. Let's go ahead and go to the next slide, please. Here we go. So I wanted to hit the big highlight there because it was really important. But when it comes to your systems, you go ahead and purchase your desktops, your laptops, your mobile devices, and you have a choice of what type of solution you would like for support. They all come with basic. That's okay, but that's going to be very limited. We're going to see a little bit of detail of what you don't get here in a slide or two. If you step up to Pro Support, then you're going to get your 24/7 access to in-region Pro Support engineers, next business day on-site repairs, and proactive monitoring. If you upgrade to Pro Support Plus, it's important to get that plus on it. Pro Support is not the same thing as Pro Support Plus. You're going to get everything that was in Pro Support, but you're going to get priority access with the Pro Support Plus, and you're going to get access to that self-healing automated remediating scripts that we just reviewed on the prior slide. If you have 500 systems in your environment, all with Pro Support Plus, you will get access to my services. I'm a technical customer success manager, and we'll be reviewing that a little bit more detail in a slide here. You also get accidental damage coverage, which is typically an add-on service that you'd have to pay for, but it's automatically included in Pro Support Plus entitlement. And you also have to keep your hard drive service. And again, we're going to review each of these in upcoming slides. And for those of you that may be in a larger environment, if you have 1,000+ devices, we do have the option of doing Pro Support Flex, which includes pretty much everything that you saw there to the left. Let's go ahead and go to the next slide, please. All right, so breaking it down, basic, what do you get? Kind of like this slide, it feels a bit empty. You get a couple things, and that's about it. Let's go ahead and go to the next slide. With thank you. With Pro Support, this is what you're going to get. You're going to get a bit more support, system level performance, utilization metrics. But with Pro Support Plus, this is where everything comes into full picture and full view. We get those automations. We get the technical support. We get the technical CSM, and so forth. So this is a nice slide, an overview to let you know what is it that you're getting with the Plus. And let's dive into a little bit of that. Let's go to the next slide, please. And we just talked about the self-healing. Yes, it's here. Let's go on to the next one. Thank you. And here's a high-level view of some of the scripts. Again, not taking anybody's thunder here. We're going to go into that detail, I'm sure, a little bit later. But let's go into the technical CSM. So the Technical Customer Success Manager is your primary point of contact for issues regarding sales and support, and also reporting and working to be a trusted advisor for you as the customer. So anytime you have a question, reach out to us. Let us know what you'd like to know about, or is there an issue or problem? And if we know the answer, we'll tell you right away. And if we don't, we'll find the person that does. We're here to advocate for you. So it's important to realize the value of the technical CSM. This is, I believe, one of the cornerstones of the Pro Support Plus entitlement, because not only are we here to help with this, but we can also help answer those questions like, okay, well, what happens with the keep your hard drive service? You heard about it here, you forgot about it, it's been 6 months. We're here to help. Make sure everything's in alignment, keep track of it. We'll have meetings to review your environment. We'll have meetings to talk about what your upcoming plans are. Help you coordinate those upgrades and changes. We're here to help you. Let's go on to the next slide, please. Keep your hard drive service. This is important for those of you in government where you have to keep the hard drive. You're not allowed to send that back. Typically, if you have any support issues, you need to leave the hard drive in the system when you ship it back. or if there's anything where you need to turn it in for replacement or even a system exchange, you need to retain the hard drive. With this service, you can retain the hard drive. That's it. You just take the hard drive out. It's understood. We'll work with it. If you don't have the service, then Dell will be asking for that hard drive, or you will need to pay for that the replacement of that drive. So very important for some sectors, and it's awesome that it's part of the Pro Support Plus entitlement. Next, please. Accidental damage coverage. This one is really nice because, again, normally it's an add-on, but it's automatically part of the Pro Support Plus entitlement. This is used with, well, you can see here, theft, loss, damage, things like that. And it covers a lot of issues. One of the things that we talked about earlier was the USB-C port and how it can get damaged. USB-C port is not covered under the standard warranty because it's one of those parts that needs to just be carefully managed. However, if you have Pro Support Plus, we can leverage the accidental damage coverage and get it fixed with no additional cost to you. And let's go ahead and continue. And again, just queuing up for Matt, Support Assist with Pro Support Plus for PCs. You know, we talked about a few things here. This is where things start to really shine when it comes to managing your fleet of systems, being able to see the benefits of the Pro Support Plus outside of just the calls. You can go ahead and self-heal. We can examine your entire fleet in one pane of glass and basically get a much better support experience. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and pass it on to Matt.
All right. Thank you, Louis. Alston, if we can go ahead and whip through this. Next slide, please. Bang. And then we've got our responses. Let's go ahead and open up the set for Matt, and we'll come back with the winner later. All right.
All right. Awesome. Thank you so much, Dennis. And Louis, thank you for some of the sneak peek to Support Assist. I think that stuff is great. I'm going to take it a little bit deeper here and hopefully give everybody a good understanding of what the tool and technology can do for you and kind of some of the top use cases and features that are available. So if you could go to the next slide for me, Alston. Support Assist all starts with our Tech Direct portal, right? So that is a web-based portal that is free to register for any of our customers. And really, we've designed this to be a modern and intelligent IT management portal that kind of spans the end-to-end life cycle of the PCs, right? The goal of this is to show both the big picture and next steps across your PC fleet anytime, anywhere. As you get more familiar with Tech Direct, you're going to understand that it's pretty customizable. Lots of different services live inside this platform, really spanning the end-to-end throughout the PC lifecycle, giving you good insight to the visibility, some remote management capabilities, and again, flexibility to customize your experience as you need. Go to the next slide for me, Alston. So Support Assist specifically. And just to start, this is really kind of a two-part solution, right? So Support Assist is an application that we would install on the PC to facilitate a telemetry collection as well as the remote remediation capabilities that are available. So the local app that's on the PC gathers and transports that data back to Tech Direct, where, to Louis's point, you get a single pane of glass to view the information that's being collected as well as act on some of the recommendations that Dell provides. This really is our connectivity technology for managing your client devices with the end goal to help you stay in control of the best possible PC experience. As you learn about this, there are lots of features that are available. We've already hit on a couple of those, so automating tasks and allowing the PCs to self-heal themselves. There's also the option to upload your own custom PowerShell script. So if we don't have some kind of self-healing script that's available and you would prefer to upload your own script, you are welcome to do that and use Support Assist as the vehicle that delivers that across the fleet. One of the best features of Support Assist is going to be the proactive and predictive issue detection. And this is really talking about replacing parts before they fail, right? So Support Assist allows you as an organization to shift from reacting to incidents to actually predicting those incidents. And I mean, at the end of the day, who doesn't like to know that a part needs to be replaced before the end user experiences that failure and then is trying to scramble and open help desk tickets and contact Dell, so on and so forth. We also do offer a really good analysis of the PC health and the performance. This does go pretty deep into component level utilization metrics, things like the CPU utilization, graphics card utilization, memory consumption, storage, thermals, battery. Lots of great details, really designed to help you understand how well is my PC fleet performing, and if there are issues, where do those issues exist, and what are some of the steps that I can take, all leading back to improving and providing that best possible experience for your end user. One of the biggest use cases of this tool is the ability to remotely update your systems. So we're talking about Dell BIOS, drivers, firmware, Dell applications. Very similar to Dell Command Update in that regard, but the advantage here is that it's within one single application that offers a lot more capability on top of just performing the updates. Of course, this does tie into the 24/7 support that you have available through Pro Support and Pro Support Plus. There are some remote management capabilities that can be enabled for our technical support teams. So it really just improves that support experience when you're working with Dell support and gives us a little bit more insight to what's going on with the specific PC, which typically leads to a quicker resolution. Then finally, I've been talking about PC fleet management. Of course, we do offer the ability for Support Assist to manage a single PC as well as all the PCs in the fleet. Alston, can you go to the next slide for me? Awesome. So what I wanted to do was just touch on a couple of the top features and use cases, really the proactive and predictive technology, some of the remote update options, and then finally wrap up with the self-healing automation. So Alston, can you move forward for me? Very good. I like this chart because it kind of visualizes how the AI predicts issues with Support Assist. So if you think through the scenario here, talking about a hard drive failure, but if you look at the left-hand side, we've got a PC here that is being monitored by Support Assist. So it's routinely collecting telemetry data and transporting that back to TechDirect as well as Dell Technologies' AI machine learning system. As soon as we detect a failure is going to happen or has happened, we're going to notify you guys, right? So you'll have the ability to define which contacts of the organization receive these notifications. But in a sense, when that part is predicted to fail, we're going to notify you. We can also automatically open a service request with Dell and get an engineer assigned, and then we will ship that part out to you for replacement. Now, the really cool thing about this is that typically for things like batteries, solid state drives, hard drives, memory modules, things like that, some of your top replaced components, when we predict that issue, most of the time we can replace that part before the failure happens, which is going to lead to a much better experience for your end user, right? I mean, nobody wants to come into work today, tried to boot up my system, hard drives failed, now I can't work, right? So this just puts in place a system that allows you to know about those failures before they happen, and then leads to a smoother repair experience and more uptime for the end user. Alston, next slide, please. Awesome. Now to touch a little bit on the remote updates, I mentioned it was similar to Dell Command Update, but there are some differences here and there are some advantages with using Support Assist. We do offer two primary methods for performing the updates, and that is going to be your Dell recommended updates and your custom catalog updates. Starting with the recommended updates, the way Support Assist works is it scans and looks at what is currently installed on the device, right? What version is installed, when was the release date, things of that nature. It automatically cross-references and in a sense does the homework for you, right? So it looks at what has been released by Dell, what is the latest update, and it's going to present those updates to you in a single pane of glass view where you know exactly what updates apply to your gear, how many PCs need that update, and then it gives you a really easy user interface to select the updates you're ready to install, and you can remotely deploy those updates directly from the TechDirect dashboard. The other benefit of using the Dell recommended updates is that it is going to incrementally step you up to the latest and greatest release from Dell while maintaining system performance and compatibility across the device, right? The last thing that we want to do is jump you too many revisions forward and cause some kind of performance issue, some kind of compatibility issue with the product. And so the advantage of using Support Assist is that in a sense, it is a protected upgrade path, and it is going to smoothly transition you to the latest update. The other option here is going to be your custom catalogs. This is a really great fit for customers looking for pretty rigid control and uniformity across the fleet. This is the ability to create a catalog of updates. So I'm choosing, I want specifically this BIOS, this firmware, this driver. Then the theory is that you would test, validate, and then publish that catalog across the PC fleet, right? So everybody is running a tested, approved, validated version of the driver or the update. There's no potential for different users to be on different versions, right? The other great thing here is that it is not pick one method and you're stuck with that forever. So if you have a subset of PCs that you'd like to use the Dell recommended updates for, and another set of PCs that you would like to use custom update catalogs for, you can pick and choose what best fits your needs and flip back and forth between those two methodologies at any point in time. Really powerful tool from a sense of saving you time and understanding what update is available for the fleet, and then getting those deployed out across all the PCs. Austin, could you move forward for me? And I know Louis touched a little bit on this, but the self-healing automation, it's here. It's truly incredible. A few more details is that Dell has scripts that are pre-written and published by Dell, ready to go out of the box, right? I think today we've got about 65 scripts that are available. The blue screen of death remediation was one. We've also got scripts for self-healing thermal issues, battery policy issues, a whole slew of things to pick and choose from and apply to the PC fleet where they make sense. These could be incident-driven scripts in that the script is going to self-heal when the issue happens, like a blue screen. But we also do have more compliance scripts, right? So if we want to check and see, is my PC fleet being protected by antivirus software? What is the status of the TPM module? Is encryption enabled? Is it running? Various different things like that can be scheduled. Those could be a one-time run. Those could be recurring runs. And you'd have the ability to say, let's run this once a month on all PCs, make sure everything is checking back. You will get a report back within TechDirect based on the success or the information that you've requested through these scripts. The other thing that I was talking about, if we don't have a script published that is something you're looking to use, you are obviously welcome to upload your own PowerShell script and utilize kind of the same functionality as the Dell branded scripts, right? And Austin, can you move forward? I've got an example here that I think is really powerful. So kind of the theme of today is Windows 11, the new PCs kind of transitioning, our fleet. And one of the biggest challenges is for my existing PCs, which ones are ready for Windows 11? There are some different system requirements, hardware requirements, things of that nature that the PC needs to meet to be able to upgrade to Windows 11. With Support Assist, we have made that extremely easy. One of the scripts that is available is the Windows 11 readiness script, and I would say this is probably one of the most popular scripts that's being used today. In a nutshell, you would enable this script to run across your entire PC fleet, and it is going to provide back a report that shows exactly which systems meet the criteria. And if they happen to not meet the criteria, it is going to tell you the reason that it's not eligible for Windows 11 transition. So this is a really great, easy to use, out of the box solution for kind of checking and preparing for that Windows 11 transition. Awesome. Austin, and can you move one more for me? So I wanted to leave everybody with just a customer story that Phoenix Union High School District saw with utilizing Support Assist. They had a really unique challenge in that their number of systems that they were managing tripled extremely quickly, right? So a lot more systems to manage, perform updates on, support from a hardware perspective, but they didn't necessarily have the ability to grow in staff as quick as the number of devices were growing themselves, right? So through a combination of Pro Support Plus and then Tech Direct and Support Assist, which I've been talking about, they had some really great outcomes. A few of the key ones were reducing the time needed to handle their hardware repairs by 50%, right? So putting in place that system to proactively and predictively tell them when things are failing, where things are failing, really saved time in repairing the systems and getting them back into the hands of their users. They were also able to support the triple number of devices without increasing their staffing. So that's huge, right? I know multiple people have talked about the complexity and the less time that we all have on our hands. Again, that is the goal of Support Assist. Make this as easy as possible to do the most with what you have today, right? And the final thing here that I thought was really cool that Phoenix Union saw was they shifted away from reacting to failures to being proactive and predictive to their district's IT needs. So again, just thought it was a really cool story. We would totally expect to see similar benefits for your organization. And if you have any questions, please partner with your Dell Technologies team. We would be more than happy to show you a deeper look at Support Assist and even help you get started. So Austin, can you move to the last slide for me here? If you're ready to get started, learn more about Tech Direct and the Support Assist capabilities, you can visit tdm.dell.com. This is where you can register to access the download for Support Assist and get started. Thank you so much. I will hand it back to you, Dennis.
Much appreciated. Austin, let's go ahead and snap forward. Now this one, as I promised, we're making it, oh, no, looks like we've got a winner. Let's see, Mr. Black. Looks like he's the first across the line. Austin, let's go ahead and roll over to our next presenter. Mr. Smotty, is your camera hot? Mic's ready?
Yes, sir.
There we go. All right, take it away, sir.
All right. Pleasure meeting everybody today. My name is Rakan Smotty. I'm part of the services team. My title is Workforce Solutions Principal. What that really means that I'm part of the services, focus on the client services in specific. I actually been with Dell for over 27 years. I'm based around Rock, Texas. I came from factory engineering, where I used to engineer much of these deployment solutions myself into the factory processes. With that said, and if I may take control of the slides. Okay. Yeah. So with that said, trying to progress the slide now. With that said, we're having these deployment conversations day in, day out with our customers. So a lot of our customers are, I mean, you've seen the roadmap discussion around the hardware. You've heard the Windows 11 conversations. A lot of our customers are actually struggling with the fact, how do we actually get these devices to Windows 11, especially now with the end of life or end of support of Windows 11 is coming up. With that said, we do offer the professional services where we would actually come in and accelerate that approach for you. We would actually have consultant services, would come in, would review your Azure environment, your Intune environment, we would configure it, optimize it based on best practices of what we have seen with thousands of other customers. As we do so, most of our customers are not able to make use of what actually had arrived on the box from the factory. The first thing that they actually end up doing as they receive these systems, they end up having to wipe and reload every single system. And that might be for a couple of reasons, at least. One, they may not be on the latest and greatest of that the factory is on. Let's say they might be already on Windows 11, but they're not on 24H2. They are on 23H2. And now they're receiving systems with 24H2, which kind of forces them to have to wipe and reload these systems. Or maybe the factory moves to 25H2 or Windows 12 once released, and now they're not ready for that. So again, they would actually have to wipe and reload. And because of that, with the registration with the autopilot, as you may have experimented yourself, a big part of it is you would actually have to run a Microsoft PowerShell script on every single system to harvest what's called a hardware hash ID and collect that information, export it to a workbook, then import it into your tenant. We can just easily do that for you. We just collect some basic information, your tenant ID, your domain ID, and we send you a link with a consent for us to do that on your behalf. And now we start uploading the device registration on your behalf. So we make that whole journey a whole lot easier. Now, to optimize that experience, once again, we don't want you to have to wipe and reload every single system. We want you to take advantage of what actually had arrived from Dell. We can actually provide you with a clean base operating system and drivers. It's called Ready Image. And that literally is a bloatware-free image, essentially. It doesn't have any trialware or bloatware or value-added software or whatever you want to call it. It doesn't have any of that. And you get to control what version of the operating system that we're shipping, regardless of what the factory standard is. If you want 23H2, no problem. We'll continue to do that until you tell us otherwise. With that said, if for a lot of customers, they're seeing the value of actually getting that clean OS and drivers, but sometimes they might be concerned, that they're end of mind to drop ship a device to an end user at home, and as part of that experience, now these systems would ship to an end user at home possibly, and the actual provisioning, the handshake with Intune, and pushing all the applications and settings would actually happen at the end user location. So some of our customers have asked if Dell can take that on, and we can absolutely do that. And that's called pre-provisioning. We call it connected pre-provisioning. So what that means, basically, we're doing the registration with the autopilot, we're doing the enrollment with Intune, and we are pre-provisioning these systems with all the applications and settings that you have pre-configured in your Intune environment live, right? So if that means that you may actually have different personas or different departments with their own subset of applications, and you've created a concept called group tags in Intune, we can provision down to that department level or down to that persona level. I know the pro support was covered earlier, so I'm not going to touch much on that. The self-healing image recovery. What that means, think of break-fix scenarios where you may actually have to re-image a system. You can actually literally think of one of your users, possibly a remote user. The hard drive is defective. It was replaced with a blank hard drive. Normally, the customer process, they would have to overnight that system to their central IT. You do a bunch of work there, then you overnight that back to them. At best, that's 3 to 5 business days, and that's downtime on the end user productivity, the logistics costs, and everything involved. With the self-healing image recovery entitlement that you get with the Ready Image, you're able to literally re-image that system with a blank hard drive from the Dell Cloud, and now you actually have a healthy operating system and drivers that Intune can see it, and now you're able to provision that system with Intune. So you're able to get that user up and running the very same day. Now we're trying to solution for cradle to grave, from the time that you're planning that refresh to the time that you're ready to dispose of those of these devices that you actually have in your environment. And that's where we offer the asset recovery services. So we can asset recover, any vendor, doesn't have to be Dell. It can be Macs, it can be other OEMs and so forth. We can actually assess if there is any residual value in these devices. And if there is, we can actually issue basically a credit to you that you can use against some future services. If there is a need, which I know many customers, sometimes they're struggling with the device refresh and they they're asking Dell to take that on as well, whether it's streamlining the planning, the initial communication, or the end user scheduling, or whatever that is. We actually also offer the services around that as well as part of that device refresh management. And last but not least, the Lifecycle Hub, which was the title of my own presentation. So as I personally think of the Dell services, I think of it at least as of twofold. One fold is being the initial deployment. How do you actually deploy a device with all the software, all the settings that you need to a user? The second fold is for devices that are in production. If somebody is leaving the company, for example, and you want to collect that device, and that's a pain point to many of our customers, how do I actually collect that device back? How do we reassess the life cycle of that device, and if there is any good residual value in that device that possibly need to be repurposed, not necessarily for new hire. You may want to offer the new hire shiny new device, but maybe as a loaner device, or maybe as for contractors, or maybe for device exchange and so forth. So we can actually, with that's the second fold, which is repurposing device, and that's what we call reverse logistics. So again, we have forward logistics, deploying the device to your users, and we have reverse logistics, where if somebody is leaving the company or somebody is changing role from maybe engineering, they had a precision desktop, to marketing, now they need a latitude, we can collect that legacy device that they have, clean that up, refurbish it, and put it back on the shelf and make it readily available to be used for the next user. Now, any of the services that we offer can be purchased a la carte. These are all fee-based services. Normally, they're per box fees, but as part of the PCS service experience, a lot of customers are looking, okay, so we don't want just to lease the hardware. Can Dell actually include these deployment services, whether it's these factory services along with the pro support services and the asset recovery services, with whatever term that they want, whether it's 2, 3, 4 years, 5 years. Sweet spots seem to be 3 years. But with that said, you would actually arrive to one price per seat per month, essentially, one predictable price per seat per month. That includes the hardware, includes the software if needed, includes the deployment services, includes the pro support and the asset recovery services into that one price. So that's our definition for PCS service. Now, with PCS service, what's actually in this color, whatever that you may actually call it, red or magenta or whatever that is. These are the factory services. These are what I called the native services that we normally include as part of that PCS service conversation. So the procurement of that device, the applying maybe a sticker or an asset tag to that system. A customer may have specific BIOS settings that they're having to toggle on every single system, maybe wake on LAN, or maybe setting a password on the system BIOS. It does require setting up that desktop with a monitor, keyboard, and mouse, just for the sake of just toggling that one BIOS setting. We can just easily capture your requirements. And as we are building these systems, we can actually toggle all these requirements for you. Apply that sticker or that asset tag to that system in the factory, with whether it's colored, you have your own asset ID, we can increment that, burn it to the system BIOS if needed, and ship it to the end destination, right? So these are the red ones are the core components of a PCS service as service from service perspective. The Lifecycle Hub, which I'm double clicking on, basically it supports these use case scenarios that I've mentioned earlier. Whether you actually have a junior, a new hire, you may not have the leverage. Okay, so today is Wednesday, you have new hire on Monday. You cannot wait for Dell to build a system and Dell factory, ship it, provision it. It could take maybe 7 days or 10 days or however long. You want just more of a just-in-time kind of deployment. With the Lifecycle Hub, these systems are pre-built, readily available, right? And as soon as you put in the request for that new hire, we would just provision it for their persona, and we would actually ship it and kit it with maybe dual monitor, peripherals, whatever that is. We would actually ship it to that destination. It would support the leaver, which is if somebody is leaving the company, as I've mentioned earlier. It would support refresh, right? So I mean, if you're doing a device refresh and so forth, we're able to handle that with similar processes from the Lifecycle Hub. It would support break fix scenarios. Somebody's screen is shattered, instead of having to wait for repair and all that, you can actually, we can just send a replacement one basically and take the broken system. As long as it's under warranty, we would actually repair it in our Lifecycle Hub, and we put it back on the shelf, readily available for the next user. And the same thing for an advanced exchange. So as you can see, it's a very comprehensive set of services that we're able to offer. So not just focus on the initial deployment, but we are focused on the deployment and the management of these devices throughout the life cycle of that device. This is kind of different representation of the same thing, whether it's a new hire or somebody changing roles or an accident of sort. Again, the whole process starts with just placing bulk orders that we would actually put it in our warehouse, and in there, as one of these requests would come in, we would intake that in, we would fulfill that request, provision it again based on the persona, kit it with, we've seen customers sometimes add maybe a mug or a welcome letter or a polo shirt of sort, and add into that and shipping that to the end user, providing you, of course, as an IT person with all the tracking information to manage your workload. And I'm gonna skip this. It's, I mean, you've seen the same concept. To expand beyond the Lifecycle Hub, with our custom managed services, thinking about, what else can Dell do also from management perspective. We have customers who are interested in an asset management, looking for Dell to actually provide an asset management solution, whether it's a software asset management or hardware asset management. And we're able to provide services around that ecosystem. It could be for maybe like a walk-up desk, for service desk or remote desk, taking the L1 and L2 calls, whatever that is, all these managed services, we've been doing this. Again, I've joined Dell 27 years ago, and we've been doing this from the time before I actually even have started, honestly, there. This is just a comparison between, what normally is in the factory. So, I spoke briefly about some of the services that we do in the factory, or sometimes, if we're not able to complete a specific service in Dell factory, whether for security purposes or whatever that is, we complete it in a configuration center. We call it second touch, because second time we touch that system, and that would include the imaging, the asset tagging, the BIOS, and all that, right? But that is a Dell specific solution for Dell hardware, right? So everything that we have here with these services is tailored for Dell. Versus with the Lifecycle Hub, it does support any other vendors as well. So you're not limited just to Dell. So if you have some of the users who actually need MacBooks and so forth, you're able to follow the same process. You have one solution that is going to solution solve for all the other vendors as well. So, and again, that would include, whether it's the configuration services that we're able to complete, the imaging, the BIOS, the kitten, and all that. We've had situations where a customer may actually have a need to quarantine a device or legal hold and so forth, where we're able to accommodate for all these use case scenarios. So all in all, with the Lifecycle Hub, it is a warehousing and advanced warehousing and inventory management solution. It manages your day in, day out environment, essentially. We're able to complete all the configuration services in there. It covers for both deployment and redeployment for repurposing devices. It does account for repairs, and asset recovery services as needed. And a customer can choose whether if you want to leverage a Dell pre-negotiated shipping rates, you can absolutely do that. But if you have your own rate that you'd rather use that, we can solution for that as well. And my last slide, basically, I've mentioned, these devices can actually be shipped, configured with all the new hire, with whether your own items that you would like to include into there. It's optimized for whether for the initial deployment or managing the returns, which is a nightmare for many customers, not able to collect some of these devices for people who are retiring or leaving the company or changing roles and so forth. So we're managing the whole experience on your behalf. It covers the unit exchange, the refresh, and as that device reaches the end of life, the disposition of that device. It's been a pleasure speaking to you. If there are any specific questions, I'll definitely take it in the chat. Thank you.
Thank you, Rakan.
Yeah.
All right. Austin, if we could put up our last game of the day. Now, I said I was going to make it tough. Well, it's a nice effort, Brian, but you know the answer to this. Oh, so close. Oh, so close. And you know what? We're taking George's answer. Nice. So, judges, we would have accepted Daggett, Muffet, or Chimpanzee for those real sci-fi nerds out there. Let's go ahead and bring up Ms. Prosla. Ms. Prosla, please.
Hey everyone, can you guys hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Cool. Hey everyone, so my name is Saba. Today I'll be talking about the value of transitioning to AI PCs and how AI PCs are really delivering inferencing at the edge with the power of the NPU. So we can go to the next slide. So AI has been, the talk of the last few years, right? But it's been around for a while. But what's making it so revolutionary right now is its accessibility. AI PCs are no longer for just developers or those technical people. In the past, we've relied on PCs with a discrete GPU to really handle heavyweight, complex AI tasks like model development, right? And these machines, they're primarily used by those technical developers. But now with the new PC architecture that includes the NPU, the neural processing unit, AI is becoming accessible to everyone, right at their fingertips. So we've seen traditional PCs without an NPU. We've used them. I mean, I'm using one right now and we know their capabilities. But AI PCs are taking things to the next level. They're handling all the regular tasks that we're accustomed to, like creating presentations, video conferencing, sending emails, plus so much more. What we're witnessing is the integration of AI features into everyday applications. So think about, collaboration tools like Teams or Zoom. These are widely used across the workforce. And now that there's AI features integrated within them that are enhancing video quality, and there have, new AI features that we haven't seen before, and they're just making video conferencing smoother. So document editing apps, they're offering real-time suggestions to improve content. They're simplifying editing processes. Endpoint security is also elevated. We have now on-device threat detection to eliminate latency that's associated with cloud-based detection as well. Think about the creative professionals out there, right? Popular editing software applications now enable instant rendering and editing capabilities for images and videos. I'm not a creative professional, but I know that when you're trying to put a for example, when you try to put a graphic behind a moving object post video, it's not an easy task. But thanks to AI and being able to detect objects in motion and being able to mask that and is possible now, and it's possible within doing it in seconds. And that's what's so revolutionary about this. And this is really made possible by the power of NPU. And really it's offloading these AI tasks to the NPU so that the CPU and the GPU are free to really focus on their intended functions. So you have better everyday performance, and you also get that longer battery life. At this point in the industry, we're still differentiating between PCs and AI PCs to really highlight the distinction, but it's really only a matter of time where AI PCs just become the new standard, and every employee will have a device with an NPU. That's what we want to work towards. So the next slide, please. This really brings me to why is this such a big deal now? Why can't transitioning to AI PCs wait? I mean, businesses everywhere are really dealing with challenges that keep piling up. There's more pressure to perform, there's surging infrastructure costs, and there's a growing demand for better security. So these are major concerns that we can't ignore, but there is a smarter way to tackle them, and that is where AI PCs come in. IT teams are really juggling so many competing priorities, from growing those user expectations and rising operating costs, and the demands for security and compliance. We know it's not easy, but let's think about it this way: if employees are used to smart, responsive technology in their personal life, right? They expect the same seamless experience at work. And when the tech isn't going to deliver that, the productivity is going to take a hit, and the business outcomes could take a hit too. At the same time, cloud-based computing costs are growing fast as workloads increase, and it's sometimes making the solutions feel less sustainable. And of course, if we don't, another challenge is the security threats are forcing organizations to really rethink traditional approaches to handling data. So AI PCs are not really a nice to have anymore. I think that was a little last year when they first launched, but now they're really becoming essential tools for staying competitive. So I've laid out the challenges, right? The solution is AI PC, but what makes them different? And that all starts with on-device AI. Move to the next slide. So AI inferencing on device is the real value of AI PCs. And you're probably wondering, what does that mean? Right? Think about it. We've all used AI power tools. We've used ChatGPT. We've asked a digital assistant a question. We've maybe tried to generate an image. We've tried to summarize a text or write an email. What you're doing, what your employees will be doing, that is AI inferencing, right? AI inferencing usually runs in the data center. You're interacting with the AI-powered app. Maybe you ask a question, you ask for an image. The app doesn't process this on your device. Instead, it's sending a request to the backend system. That backend is going to send the data to cloud or data center. And that's where the powerful computers that are running on those GPUs, those power-hungry GPUs, are going to take over. The AI model will then process your request, and that part is the inferencing. And this is where the trained AI is going to generate a response. And then the results, they're sent back to the system, and then you see an AI response in your app. And whether that's a text summary, a chatbot reply, or the generated AI image. So it's effective, right? We're using this right now, the cloud-based AI, but it's adding costs. There's delays, there are dependencies. That's why people say don't say please and thank you to your chatbot. It costs money. Cloud compute isn't free. Every interaction is going to involve a data transfer, and that's also going to pose financial and security risk. Can you move to the next slide? Yeah. So the solution here is the AI PC. The power of AI can happen directly on your device. So how that works is, imagine an employee is using AI to create content, right? Instead of sending that request to the cloud, the AI is going to run right on their PC. And this is possible because of the NPU, GPU, CPU, right? It's possible because of the on-device frameworks that are allowing the process to be faster, more secure, and less costly by avoiding cloud dependency. It's tapping into the power of the processors that are meant to do these things, right? NPU for AI, for lightweight AI, GPU for those complex, heavy tasks, for graphical things, CPU as the brain of the computer. Everything is going to stay local. It's going to give users quick results, and it's going to keep that data safe because there's no transfer to the cloud. So what does this mean for businesses? Well, first, there's speed. On-device AI really removes that frustrating lag that's caused by cloud. Everything happens faster, so your team isn't just stuck on waiting for answers or results. Then there's cost savings. By moving away from heavy reliance on cloud computing, you're really cutting down those recurring cloud storage and processing expenses, and those savings can add up pretty quickly. Efficiency is another big one here. AI PCs are designed to build, they're built specifically for the kind of operations that AI relies the most. And that result is the power of AI, not to drain the system's overall performance. And then finally, there's security. Since on-device is keeping everything processing on your device, your sensitive data never leaves the device. And that makes it easier to stay compliant with stricter policy regulations your organization might implement. And when you combine these benefits, the result is a solution that keeps your business competitive while protecting what matters the most. Cool. AI PCs really support two distinct on-device AI strategies. So you can either buy AI or build AI. Buying AI represents, what others do for you. Think ISVs and software providers that are building AI features into their applications, like the Adobes of the world. And then these applications, right, they're ready to use capabilities. They're leveraging AI PCs to really power and handle those AI tasks seamlessly. On the other hand, we have building AI, and that's what an organization does for itself. This is the long game. So this is where businesses are going to develop their own applications and harness local resources, and they're going to run AI models they've trained, tuned, or augmented with their unique data. This does require effort. It's not an easy task, but this is where companies really can differentiate themselves and from competitors and deliver maximum value. So, AI PCs are really designed to meet both of these use cases, whether you're buying or building. But for building AI in particular, once models are trained and fine-tuned, you can really quickly realize there's no such thing as free inference, right? Whether it's paying a cloud provider or your own power bill, every time you run inference, there is a cost. But the cost can be reduced, when it's really in your control. So you may be thinking, well, we don't even use AI that much. What's the use case? What apps are out there? AI PCs are not about the count of AI apps out there in the static moment of time, focusing on the static moment of time and saying that I don't see an app that my employees use. Maybe they don't use Adobe or things like that, right? That mindset is almost like a mistake because it's not really, it's more about the life of the device demanding a different ability. So it's truly that future-proofing conversation that we're trying to have here. And whether you're buying AI or you're baking it into your company's own models or building your own company app, if the client device is not ready, right, then you can't do those things. And you're going to realize who pays for all that AI each and every time a model is activated and a person is going to use the AI-based feature or application. And then next slide. So hopefully that, clears up a lot of that urgency and gives you more insight to the value of AI PCs. And I want to change gears into what devices should I buy, right? We have AI PCs that span from essential entry-level AI PCs to Copilot Plus PCs and then high-performance AI PCs. So we really have it for all types of users. As a foundation, the essential AI PCs are perfect for businesses just starting with AI. And this lineup really includes the hybrid architecture of CPU, GPU, NPU to handle entry-level AI tasks with ease. It's a really great way to introduce AI-driven tools into the workflow without overhauling everything. For power users, we recommend Copilot Plus PCs, right? These machines really ramp up that NPU power. They have that 40 plus tops NPU performance that everyone's talking about. That's delivering more advanced features that, can be run offline. So you don't have to have internet connection when doing real-time language translations. There's recall on these Copilot features, which is like a searchable photographic memory, and they all run locally on the device. And then, of course, for the developers, for those technical folks, that doesn't go away. We have high-performance AI PCs built for developers, for those technical professionals that deal with a lot of intensive AI workloads. So this is, done because of the power of discrete GPUs. So you can have those advanced configurations and really handle those heavy-duty tasks like large-scale model training with ease. And then, of course, all these devices come with the latest Windows 11 OS. But you're able to choose everything from Dell Pro and to our Dell Pro Max portfolio from a variety of processor options that fit best for your environment and your use case, whether that be Intel, AMD, or Qualcomm. And of course, we have the NVIDIA GPUs as well. And then lastly, just want to close out with, why Dell? What makes us and our Dell AI PCs different from others on the market really comes down to our industry leadership in 3 key areas. We actually offer the industry's most secure and manageable commercial AI PCs. We know security and manageability are a top priority for every IT leader. Features like advanced threat detection and on-device AI processing really ensure sensitive data stays protected on the device. We're making management easier by providing the right AI for the right user, all in single BIOS. We have a lot of robust tools that that a lot of people have shared on this call here. And then second, only Dell delivers seamless cross-silicon optimization for on-device AI. So no matter which NPU technology your device has, Intel, Qualcomm, or AMD, if you're wanting to build your own AI, we have Dell Pro AI Studio, which is a comprehensive toolkit, I will say, that really helps you or your developers build AI apps easily across different architectures. And then third, we offer a wide range of devices built to meet every need. I showed you this in the last slide before, but there's a Dell AI PC for every use case. Maybe you need a high performance workstation for technical professionals to anything ultra light for mobile teams. And it doesn't just stop at our devices, right? You've seen that we have so many services end to end to really modernize at a global scale. We also have Dell PC as a service, for customers that need that monthly, like flexible monthly payment options to really protect the bottom line. And then, last thing, when you're partnering with Dell, you're not just buying the hardware as you've seen, you're really investing in a complete ecosystem that's there to support you now and in the future. So that is all I have on that.
All right. Saba, thank you so very much for your time, your energy into this. Alston, throw me a ping. How's your mic? Is it cooperating?
Yeah, I
now?
think can you hear me now?
There we go. Now we can hear
All
you.
right. All right. Hey, look, I don't want to encroach on everyone's lunch. I know that we are a little bit over, and I do appreciate those that have stayed. I know we had several presenters that were really presenting some quality information today, and I hope that just spurs additional conversation with your account teams, with your TCSMs, and it gets us into a space where we're being more proactive for you, optimizing everything within your environment. And so without that, well, basically bringing into that, I just want to close out and advise everyone, if there are questions and you were not able to ask a question, feel free to ping Dennis or I via email. And I think that email is actually identified in the registration or that registration ID. So feel free to ping us. We'll get those questions to the appropriate parties, and then we'll get those answers back to you either through your TCSM, or if you don't have a TCSM, through your account teams. Thanks everyone for joining. I appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone. Stay safe.
Take care.